Unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, welcome to the Life Guidance Vault, where every insight is a key to unlocking a new path to growth, purpose, and transformation. Today, we are diving deep into something many of us hesitate to confront: the painful reality of cutting ties, even with family or friends. Yes, you heard that right. Sometimes, despite the love and history we share with those close to us, the most empowering choice is to walk away. But how do we know when it's time? What are the signs? How do we navigate the complexity of these relationships without guilt? Well, my friends, today we'll explore 7 signs you should cut ties with even the closest people in your life, be it family or friends. These signs are not only a reflection of toxic dynamics, but also an invitation for you to take back control of your mental and emotional well-being. Now, before we get started, I want you to take a moment and think about your relationships. Are there any individuals who drain your energy, undermine your growth, or hinder your happiness? If so, you're not alone. It's a hard truth, but recognizing these signs is the first step toward making the right decisions for your future. All right, without further delay, let's dive into the first sign that it may be time to cut ties when the toxicity is unbearable. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most obvious sign: the toxicity is unbearable. We've all heard the saying, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Well, what happens when the people in your life are constantly feeding you negativity, drama, or unhealthy behaviors? It's like you're carrying a weight that only gets heavier as time goes on. Toxic relationships aren't always loud or overtly harmful. They often begin subtly. It could be small comments that make you feel less than, or constant criticisms about your choices. Over time, however, this small drip of negativity turns into a flood. You begin to feel drained, anxious, and even depressed. You start questioning your worth, wondering if something is wrong with you. If you notice that someone in your life consistently makes you feel bad about yourself, whether it's through direct insults or passive-aggressive remarks, this is a glaring sign that the relationship has become toxic. Toxicity also shows up as a constant need to fix the other person, which drains your emotional resources and time. The most insidious part? Many times this behavior is normalized. They might tell you that they're just being honest or looking out for you. But honesty doesn't have to come at the expense of respect. Constantly being around people who project negativity will only chip away at your confidence and well-being. This is where you must ask yourself, how long are you willing to tolerate this toxicity? Your life is too precious, and your peace of mind is worth protecting. If you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells or feeling bad about your own existence because of someone's presence, it may be time to distance yourself. No one should make you feel small, less than, or unworthy. The second sign is a little more specific: lack of respect for your boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines we draw to protect our physical, emotional, and mental well-being. When we establish these lines, we're saying, "This is where I end and you begin." They can be personal, like needing alone time, or emotional, like wanting to discuss certain topics only when you're ready. They can also be physical, like requiring respect for your space and privacy. But what happens when those boundaries are ignored, disrespected, or outright violated? People who don't respect your boundaries may repeatedly overstep them, even when you've made it clear that certain behaviors or actions are not okay. Maybe they call you late at night when you've asked for quiet time to sleep, or they make fun of your need for personal space, calling it too much or overdramatic. It's easy to think, well, maybe I'm just being sensitive. But let me tell you, boundaries are there for a reason. They help you maintain a sense of self, autonomy, and respect in your relationships. If someone repeatedly disregards them, it's a clear indication that they don't respect you, your needs, or your emotions. The more they disregard your boundaries, the more they undermine your sense of self. It can leave you feeling powerless, and worse, questioning whether your boundaries even matter. The truth is, boundaries are a reflection of self-worth. When you don't set them or allow others to violate them, you're essentially telling the world that your well-being isn't a priority. Boundaries also signal how much we respect others, as well as ourselves. When someone constantly disregards yours, it's a red flag that they might not value you enough to care about your comfort and needs. If you've communicated your boundaries and they've been ignored repeatedly, it's time to evaluate whether this relationship is worth keeping. Respect is the cornerstone of every healthy relationship. Now let's dive into the third sign: consistent dishonesty. Honesty is essential in any relationship, whether it's with family, friends, or romantic partners. When honesty is compromised, trust, the very foundation of any meaningful relationship, begins to crumble. If you find yourself constantly questioning what someone says, or worse, catching them in lies over and over again, it's a huge red flag. Everyone makes mistakes, but when lying becomes a pattern, it's not a mistake. It's a habit, a choice. Dishonesty often comes in many forms. It could be small lies that seem insignificant at first, but when added together, they create a web of deceit that distorts reality. Or it could be major lies that completely change the course of your relationship. Either way, the result is the same. You lose trust, and trust is nearly impossible to rebuild once it's gone. People lie for many reasons: fear, guilt, manipulation, or even to avoid confrontation. But if someone consistently lies to you, they are undermining your ability to trust them. And trust, once broken, is hard to restore. You might find yourself asking, why do they keep lying to me? What's the reason behind this? Often it's because the person doesn't respect the truth, nor does they value the emotional safety that honesty creates in relationships. Instead, they value their own comfort over the impact their dishonesty has on you. The damage doesn't always come from the lies themselves, but from the constant emotional turmoil that results. You start doubting your reality, feeling confused, and wondering if you're the one at fault. You may even start second-guessing your own intuition. Healthy relationships thrive on trust, openness, and vulnerability. When someone consistently lies, it erodes those qualities and leaves you with a sense of betrayal. Trust isn't just about what is said, it's about how you feel when you're around that person. If you can't feel secure in knowing that their words align with their actions, it might be time to walk away. Let's talk about the fourth sign: emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a powerful, subtle force that can turn your entire sense of reality upside down. It's when someone uses your emotions, vulnerabilities, and insecurities to control or influence you for their own gain. This is a toxic behavior that can leave you feeling drained, confused, and helpless. Manipulation often starts small, with guilt trips or passive-aggressive comments, but over time, it escalates. Maybe they use your love or loyalty against you, playing on your sense of responsibility, or making you feel like you're the one in the wrong for setting boundaries. It could be constant blame shifting, where they never take accountability for their actions, always placing the blame on you or someone else. Or perhaps they gaslight you, making you question your reality and doubt your feelings. When someone manipulates your emotions, they're essentially controlling how you feel, making it difficult for you to stand your ground or assert your own needs. The longer this goes on, the more you may begin to lose your sense of self-worth and identity. You might find yourself apologizing when you haven't done anything wrong, feeling sorry for someone who's taking advantage of you, or even neglecting your own needs to cater to theirs. This is emotional manipulation at its finest. They use your empathy and love against you to maintain control over the relationship. Healthy relationships should empower you, not leave you questioning your every decision. They should make you feel uplifted, not drained. If someone consistently manipulates your emotions, it's time to ask yourself, is this relationship serving me, or is it taking more than it's giving? When you're emotionally manipulated, your feelings are disregarded in favor of the manipulator's needs. Over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion, anxiety, and even depression. It's crucial to recognize when you're being manipulated and set firm boundaries. Trust your instincts. If a relationship feels like it's draining you, it might be time to let go, even if it's difficult, especially if it's affecting your mental and emotional well-being. Now, let's explore the fifth sign: constant criticism and belittling. Criticism is a natural part of growth. Constructive feedback helps us become better versions of ourselves. But when criticism crosses the line into constant belittling, it becomes toxic. Constantly being put down or made to feel insignificant is emotionally damaging, and it can slowly wear away at your confidence and self-esteem. Do you have someone in your life who always finds fault with everything you do, even the smallest things? Whether it's your appearance, your choices, or your actions, no matter how hard you try, they always seem to have something negative to say. Over time, this type of criticism chips away at your self-worth, leaving you feeling like you're never enough. This can be especially harmful when it comes from someone close to you, whether a family member, a friend, or even a partner. When someone who's supposed to support you constantly criticizes you, it can make you doubt your own abilities and judgments. You might even start to second-guess every decision you make, wondering if you're just as bad as they say. This kind of relationship dynamic often involves the toxic cycle of criticism and apology, where the criticizer points out your flaws, and you end up apologizing for things you didn't do wrong. It's a never-ending loop that undermines your confidence and leaves you feeling small. Remember, constructive criticism is meant to help you grow, but when the criticism feels hurtful, harsh, or simply unfounded, it's no longer helpful, it's harmful. You deserve to be in a relationship where you're encouraged, uplifted, and respected, not constantly torn down. If you find that your relationship is marked by constant belittling, it's time to seriously evaluate whether it's worth holding on to. You deserve better than to feel less than in your own life, no matter the source. Let's move on to the sixth sign: disrespect for your boundaries. Boundaries are essential in any healthy relationship. They are the invisible lines that protect your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. When someone continually disrespects or ignores your boundaries, it's a clear sign that the relationship isn't healthy and your needs aren't being prioritized. Have you ever said no to something, only to have the person keep pushing, insisting, or even guilt-tripping you into changing your mind? Or perhaps you've expressed a need for space, but they just don't respect it. Whether it's insisting on spending time with you when you need rest, pushing you to do things that make you uncomfortable, or crossing personal boundaries without any regard for how you feel. Disrespecting boundaries is a clear red flag. This might look like someone ignoring your request for privacy, belittling your need for alone time, or even manipulating you into compromising your values or comfort zones. If someone consistently crosses the line after you've expressed your limits, it's a sign that they're not valuing you as an individual. They're only interested in fulfilling their own needs at the cost of yours. Your boundaries aren't just nice to have. They are vital for maintaining your emotional health and personal growth. When someone constantly disregards these boundaries, they are disrespecting the very essence of who you are. It's a form of emotional manipulation, and it can make you feel powerless, anxious, or even guilty for standing up for yourself. In a healthy relationship, boundaries are respected, understood, and maintained. But if you find that the people around you continuously violate your boundaries, it may be time to reconsider your connection with them. Remember, you have every right to say no, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who honor your limits. If someone can't respect your personal space, your emotions, or your time, they're not someone you need in your life. Finally, we reach the seventh sign. The relationship is one-sided. This might be the most subtle yet insidious of all the signs. In a healthy, balanced relationship, there is give and take from both sides. Both parties should contribute, whether it's emotionally, mentally, or physically. However, when the relationship becomes one-sided, with you doing most of the work, it's a glaring red flag. Do you find yourself always reaching out to them first, initiating conversations, making plans, and putting in the effort to keep the connection alive? Yet, when you need something, a little support, a listening ear, or some time together, they're either unavailable or simply uninterested. A one-sided relationship is draining. It can leave you feeling emotionally exhausted, as though you're constantly giving without receiving in return. Over time, this can lead to feelings of resentment and disappointment, because you begin to realize that you're the only one investing in the relationship. But what makes this even more complicated is that one-sided relationships don't always look bad on the surface. You might get brief moments where the other person shows affection or care, but these moments are few and far between. And when you ask for support or effort in return, you might hear excuses, promises that go unfulfilled, or empty apologies. This imbalance often arises when one person takes the other for granted, assuming that their love and loyalty will always Be there, regardless of their actions or inactions. And you, as the one giving most of the energy, might feel stuck, caught between your desire to maintain the relationship and the realization that you're the only one trying to keep it afloat. Real love, real friendships, real family connections are built on mutual respect, understanding, and effort. If your relationships are consistently one-sided, it's crucial to evaluate the connection and decide whether it's worth continuing. You deserve relationships that are not only reciprocal, but also uplifting. If you're constantly giving, but never receiving, it might be time to cut ties and focus on creating space for relationships that are based on balance, where both sides thrive and support each other's growth. As we come to the end of our journey today, let's pause and reflect on the 7 signs we've discussed. Toxicity and negativity creeping into your life. Manipulation and control tactics that take away your peace. Constant disrespect of your boundaries and your worth. Relationships that leave you feeling drained, both emotionally and physically. Unresolved conflict that never seems to heal. The lack of growth or positive change over time. A one-sided relationship where your efforts are not returned. All of these signs can be uncomfortable to recognize, especially when they involve people you love or care about. It's natural to want to hold on to relationships, whether family or friends, because we're wired to seek connection and companionship. But remember this: your peace of mind, your emotional health, and your personal growth must always come first. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is holding on to this relationship helping me become the person I want to be? Is it contributing to my growth, or is it keeping me stuck in a cycle of negativity? If the answer is no, then it might be time to make a difficult but necessary choice. Cutting ties, even with family or friends, can be painful, but it's often the only way to clear the space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships to blossom. By letting go of the toxic and the unbalanced connections in your life, you create room for growth, healing, and new opportunities. You deserve relationships where you feel supported, respected, and truly valued, not just tolerated or used. As you move forward, remember that setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about protecting your peace and preserving your energy. You don't have to be a martyr to keep others happy. You are allowed to prioritize yourself and choose what's best for your well-being. So, my unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, if you've recognized any of these signs in your own life, don't hesitate to take action. You have the power to decide who you keep close and who you release. The relationships that truly matter will support you, help you grow, and bring joy into your life. The ones that don't, it's okay to let go and move on. Remember, cutting ties doesn't mean you're being cold or heartless. It means you're choosing to make room for the life you deserve. Thank you for exploring this crucial topic with me today here at the Life Guidance Vault. I hope you feel empowered to take control of your relationships and create the kind of life that reflects your worth. Until next time, take care of yourself, prioritize your peace, and continue your journey toward a healthier, happier, and more fulfilled life.